KTN's Abia Gina had an exclusive interview with Peris Tobiko, the Member of Parliament for Kajiado East, on just why devolution can still work for Kenya. Here is more.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. Well, today we'll be talking matters devolution, and I'll be speaking to Honorable Peris Tobiko, the Member of Parliament for Kajiado East, just assessing the key issues facing counties and what's actually in the offing when it comes to developing the counties. Thank you so much, Honorable Tobiko.
Thank you. Thank you too.
Well, my first question is on devolution. We've had a push and pull when it comes to allocation of resources, and yet counties have been receiving close to over 300 billion shillings from the national government, which constitutes 15% as enshrined in the Constitution. Perhaps from your assessment, has devolution worked for Kenyans?
Actually, devolution in this country started much longer than, the 2010 Constitution, because around 2003, when there was the Honorable Karue's CDF Act that was passed in Parliament, and which gave effect to some sort of devolution, actually at a much lower level than the county level. We started then seeing funds moved from the national level to a much lower level of government. And I think a lot has been achieved through the CDF resources, yes, going to all constituencies in the country. I think that was the first major devolved way of having resources at the lower levels, yes, and across the county at also an equal sort of footing. You remember before that there were opposition areas, and there were places that were looked at to be like government-friendly areas, yes, that were receiving much more resources. But the CDF Act sort of equalized all constituencies. And that really spurred development at the local level, particularly educational infrastructures, schools, and all that. That was the beginning. And of course, with the 2010 Constitution, then there was the establishment of the counties, which were brought into effect in 2013. And yes, a lot of resources have gone into the lower levels of government, and a lot has been achieved, if I may say that.
In regards to money to the counties, one of the big challenges has been delivering projects that can give value to the locals. Have we been achieving value for locals, or it has been simply spending for the sake of ensuring funds have been allocated and have been used?
Actually, in a lot of parts of our country, even without the well-defined government resources, there has also been a lot of NGOs working, and mobilizing communities, mobilizing resources for communities, and a lot has been achieved. There has been other development partners on the ground. I would say through the United Nations, various agencies, a lot has been achieved. In particular now, with the devolved resources, yes, in various parts of the country, we can see major achievements. But of course, it's not without challenges. Correct. It's not without challenges. And these resources are never sufficient. But I think the bigger challenge now is, the proper utilization of such resources, proper accountability for such resources, and it's sad to say that we have also devolved corruption, to the county levels. So you find that a lot has gone into waste, a lot has gone into duplication, a lot is unaccounted for in various counties. Maybe this is now what really needs to be checked. Yeah.
the astronomical development we are seeing in counties, especially Kajiado, which is close to 40 kilometers from the heart of the city, that is Nairobi. Kajiado is emerging as a key hub for industries, for human settlement. Have we set the right parameters in place to ensure that people can settle, companies can set up, and at the same time there's integrated development?
Let me then talk about my constituency, because that's the area right now, that my area of jurisdiction, constituency, not county, at least as of now. You know, I would say my constituency in particular has become a bedroom for Nairobi, because there's so much influx of other Kenyans coming to Kajiado, seeking, you know, land and settlement and all that, and rightfully so. This is a place that has not been well planned. You know, in order to accommodate the influx, there need to be proper planning. Proper planning so as to have the necessary infrastructure in place, have the medical facilities in place, have schools, have roads, you know, have towns, you know, satellite towns like Kitengela, well planned, have sewer systems, you know, that will then accommodate the bigger population. That is what we need. And I really find that our county governments are not prioritizing this kind of planning, you know, because if you don't plan, of course, then you're planning to fail. It will be chaos, you know, with a very conservative community that's used to a different sort of lifestyle, still believing that pastoralism is the way to go, and with an influx of a community that's looking for, you know, permanent settlement, then you have the two clashing. So if this is not addressed, then you'll find chaos in the towns. You'll find, you know, open sewers in Kitengela. You'll find there are no roads within the town, the urban area. It's sad, because really, right now, we should be planning our satellite towns even better than Nairobi, you know, with the sort of expectations and being futuristic in mind. Yeah. So Kajiado, in terms of development also, you know, can benefit and is benefiting from a lot of metropolitan services. Kajiado being in the metropolitan area, you know, in terms of the transport system, Kajiado can easily be linked with Nairobi, you know, and find the train services going to Kajiado, find good road infrastructure heading to Kajiado. You'll find even the airport facilities. We have the Konza City coming up not very far from Kajiado. I think Kajiado is strategically placed, as long as the leaders are able to, you know, identify what will work for everybody.
Let's shift gears and look at, of course, at constituency level. The members of parliament have been rooting for more funds to be allocated to the Constituency Development Fund. And in actual sense, majority of the members of parliament have been delivering basically infrastructure such as schools, dispensaries, and perhaps does this reflect what the locals want on the ground? How can we re-engineer the process so that we get more value to the locals? For instance, if an area is very good in production of, say, beef, as opposed to setting a dispensary for them, how do we prioritize and perhaps set a slaughtering house that can support the local farmers?
You know, with the constitution now, the common mwananchi are participating in public participation in identifying projects, in you know, identifying their priority needs. If governors and those others concerned were to follow the prioritized needs of communities, I'm sure a lot more will be achieved. Of course, the national government also needs to release funds for devolved functions. You know, the resources must follow the functions. That goes without saying. You know, like particularly now, you know that what is going on in the health sector. I really sympathize with the doctors with this COVID situation and lack of PPEs and lack of a lot of other, medical instruments that they will need at this particular time. I think the national government should be a lot more organized, but even our counties should even be a lot more organized. You can organize yourself with little. You can achieve a lot with little. It just depends on how well you manage what you have. Yeah? I think what is the biggest challenge is not the insufficiency of resources. It is how we utilize what we have.
We come to the tail end of our discussion, Mheshimiwa. I would like to just hear your thoughts around the Building Bridges initiative. A lot is contained in this document. Matters to do with the economy is also featured in this particular document. And I just want to get your insights in regards to supporting youth enterprises. And of course, what are some of the contentious issues that stand out for you in this BBI?
BBI provides us with an opportunity. With more devolved resources to the county level, and also, with the Youth Commission coming in and giving a tax holiday for youth businesses, Kajiado can thrive. And of course, the rest of Kenya can thrive. That is my belief. And so I have not known what the anti-BBI group is advocating for. It has not been very clear on what is it that they don't like in BBI. I would say BBI provides us with an opportunity of engagement as Kenyans and of coming together as Kenyans and taking Kenya to the next level.
Well, it's been a pleasure hosting you on Business Today. Thank you so much, Honorable Peris Tobiko, for shedding light into matters devolution.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, back to you, Brian George, in studio.
Well, back to me, Nokif Kimboy. That's all for Business Today. Thank you very much for watching. Up next, we have Mbiwa KTN with Cecilia Wakesho. Stay tuned.